This week's Parshas Shalach, is one of the most difficult and, for me, one of the most depressing Parshas that there is in the Torah. The failure, the dismal failure of the Meraglim is so depressing. All Golus and Jewish history, with all the travail that we've had through the millennium, having to do with the failure of the Meraglim. Perhaps part of the difficulties that I have with it is that in many ways I feel that we're still in the stuck in the pit that the Meraglim dug for us. In certain ways we look around and people are still stuck in the same mistakes and the same failures in the way they look at Eretz Yisrael and the way they deal with things, and very depressing. We haven't gone much further in the last 3,500 years. How do we understand it? Where does it come from? What causes it? And there's one pasuk in this week's parsha that, when I looked at it, it stuck. I said, I've got to get shot in this pasuk. I have to understand what it means, because I think it's so blatant that there's something going on that it says darsheni. It says, find out what's going on. Moshe Rabbeinu sends the Meraglim, and Moshe Rabbeinu says to them, fellas, you're going to Eretz Yisrael, you're going to go from the south, and you're traveling up north, and you got to see the land, and you got to see if it's strong, and see if what the people are like, and the cities. Check it all out for us. V'hitchazaktem u'lekachtem mipri haaretz. And strengthen yourselves, and take from the fruit of the land. First of all, why bring from the fruit of the land? Why is that so important to Moshe Rabbeinu? Secondly, the hit chazaktem. What does that mean? Be strong. What do you mean be strong? Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the fruit's going to be so strong, so heavy, that you can need so many people to carry it. What is this, nevuah? What's v'hit chazaktem? Parshas Moshe Rabbeinu saying to them, strengthen yourself. What are you strengthening yourself for? What are you strengthening yourself for? To take from the fruit of the land. So perhaps Moshe Rabbeinu was telling the Meraglim a very important point that they totally missed. And it's the Yesod of Eretz Yisrael. My brother once brought the governor of Maryland at that time to Eretz Yisrael. Brought him on a trip. And he said something very fascinating. He said it about Yerushalayim, but the truth is the same is true about all of Eretz Yisrael. This governor, Goy, he said, there's some energy, there's some koach. I've never felt such a strong energy in all my life. So I was one place before where it was something, but what I feel here in Yerushalayim, I've never felt before in my life. That's a goy. Eretz Yisrael is a very, very powerful place. Eretz Yisrael has a certain energy. It's got an intensity that you don't have anyplace else. And if you look at it, it goes both ways. Because the Torah tells us, K'maise eretz Canaan, asher ani mevi eschem shama lo ta'asu. When the Torah wants to talk about the height of immorality, so it says Mitzrayim. We understand that. But Eretz Canaan fosters the height of immorality. Because there's a certain intensity. Mitzad Sheni, Rav Yehuda Levi, when he speaks about Eretz Yisrael, he says, Eretz shel avir hanevuah, that the air fosters nevuah. There's an intensity. That intensity is extremely dangerous because that intensity can go one way and then it can bring you to nevuah. Or chas v'chalila can go the other way and it brings to bad things. We see that in Eretz Yisrael. We see that in the whole world regarding Eretz Yisrael. This small dot on the map that's not even big enough to really appear on a global map fosters such intensity of feeling and emotion throughout the world. It's crazy. What are you so concerned about? This little dot is not even a dot. And the people here? You have people who have an intensity where you have koyach of Torah unheard of throughout the generations. Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi being even more intense than Talmud Bavli. Tzad Sheni, that people are crazy. You see the fights and the emotions that go in about every single issue. That's Koch of Eretz Yisrael. I saw Rav Chesko Abramsky says an interesting thing. The Gemara says in Masechet Ksubis that a person who walks Arba Amos in Eretz Yisrael is guaranteed to have Olam Haba. So he says, the Mefarshim say, what do you mean, Arba Amos? So Rav Abramsky said, I think the pshat is only Arba Amos. If you walk slowly, if you take only a small area, then you're able to stop and to think and to absorb what Eretz Yisrael is about. If you take it too fast, you're going to lose it. And then the intensity can drive you and you can lose all perspective. And I think that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was telling the Meraglim. V'hit chazaktem, if you want to bring something back from Eretz Yisrael, you've got to make yourself strong. You've got to strengthen yourself to be able to understand, absorb, and really take in what Eretz Yisrael is about. And then you can bring miperos haaretz. Then you can bring and really bring a message to everybody about what is the produce of the land. But you got to be careful. You got to be strong. If you're strong, you don't let your own emotions carry you away, and you try to absorb the message of the land. Then you can get the truth of that koach HaKadusha that Eretz Yisrael can give. And then the fruit that you'll bring, not just the physical fruit, the spiritual fruit, is something that can make a tremendous influence on Klal Yisrael. And then their whole approach to Eretz Yisrael would have been different. And we wouldn't have had to go through all these millennium of tzaras. Maybe you can learn the lesson now, and Be'ez Hashem B'Karov come to the fruition of the promise that Lasid Lavo will learn our lesson, take in the Kedusha, the Ruach Nevuah, and be finished with all the tzaras.